Everything kicks off in a lavish VIP delivery room. A woman, cool as ever, is flipping through a magazine while about to give birth. But her chill runs out fast. She snaps at the nurses, demanding they get the baby out already, all without even putting the magazine down. Then it happens. A baby's cry pierces the air. A staff member rushes out, congratulating the grandfather with excitement. The room fills with guests showering Miss Liu with praise. He nods in gratitude, soaking in the compliments, then casually asks a maid where Shikuin is. She informs him the young master had business on Earth. That flips a switch. The grandfather's face darkens as he curses his son for being a no-show, calling him a useless deadbeat. Suddenly, a blood-curdling scream echoes from the delivery room, freezing everyone in place. Worried, Liu bolts up, demanding to know what's going on. Inside, the mother is stunned. A brilliant light is radiating in front of her eyes. The grandfather and his men rush in and instantly stop cold. The light source? The newborn. Lightning crackles around the baby's body, golden and wild, and the little guy looks like he's having the time of his life. From within, the baby smirks mentally. Who would have thought a lowly commoner like him would be reincarnated into this powerful clan and awaken a divine sense? A system screen pops up. Lightning-type divine sense activated. Current power, sea level. The grandfather is floored. His grandson just awakened a power he could never achieve himself. His cane drops. With wide eyes and trembling hands, he exclaims about the unparalleled divine sense the boy now holds. Scooping the child up, he roars with joy. The Liu clan has birthed a once-in-a-generation genius. But inside, the baby has his own twisted plans. This is a shot to claim everything from the clan and make sure his pathetic father never reincarnates again. The maids gush over how the baby didn't cry and even smiled, a mark of noble destiny. The elder steps forward, vowing to invest everything the clan has into raising this child. Our MC, meanwhile, is reflecting. 6 months have passed since that traitor ended his last life. It all feels surreal. Flashback to 1 month after reincarnation. His mother drinks a special tonic given by her maid. Instantly, a golden light surges across her body. That's when it started, accelerated growth. Even as an embryo, he reached D level. He realizes that normal people could never touch the kind of power the clans have. And yet here he is, already achieving what others can only dream of. Still, this ability puzzles him. There's no record of it anywhere. 2 months later, things get dicey. The original embryo in the womb starts absorbing him, but thanks to his ability, he devours it instead and absorbs its lightning-type divine sense. Jackpot! With one of the rarest elemental powers now his, the MC grins. He's going to suck this clan dry of all its resources and come out unstoppable. By month 3, he's already reached intermediate lightning level. Things are accelerating fast. Then things get awkward. Back in the mother's bedroom, there's lingerie scattered across the floor. On the bed, she's hooking up with a blonde guy while her baby's still in the belly. He asks if she's afraid, and she shrugs it off. Their marriage is just for politics. But the MC hears everything. The man questions if the kid is even his. His mother ignores it, craving more. The chaos disrupts the baby's energy absorption. Annoyed, he releases a burst of energy inside the womb. She winces in pain, complaining it burned her from the inside out. At 6 months, he hits peak D level. He finally understands his mother's constitution. Just then, a calm, handsome man stares at her belly. When is this brat coming out already? He mutters. Inside, the baby glares back with burning hatred. He remembers that face. Cue the flashback. In his past life, he was in a desperate battle. One of his injured companions urged him to escape, but he hesitated and watched as a monster devoured his friend alive. That's when the betrayal hits. A comrade, grinning wickedly, feeds his team to a beast to form a spirit core. As he watches, a massive spike skewers him through the chest. He gasps, stunned. The traitor laughs, mocking him for being so naive. As the MC is tossed aside like garbage, he accuses the scumbag of setting him up. His last thoughts? His sisters, the little ones he promised to come home to. He remembers leaving them at the door, 3 innocent faces waiting by the window, staring at the moon, hoping their brother would return. Back to the present. The rage burns inside the womb. He swears vengeance on the man who tore his family apart, and he lets it fly. A solid punch from inside the womb slams into the father's face, sending him crashing. The woman gasps, shocked by the powerful kick. The father hits the floor, groaning in pain, completely clueless. She curses the brat for acting out before he's even born. The grandfather demands an update. A nurse explains that the young master's development is abnormal. His talent is off the charts. And now, labor's kicking in. The baby is ready. Our MC thinks back. In his old life, Peak D level was his cap. But now, he's about to break through. The mother, overwhelmed by pain, screams for the best delivery team. And by the time he turns 1 month old, the Liu family is already throwing a grand banquet to honor his birth. Several major families from southern Shao arrive at the banquet, bringing luxurious gifts to celebrate the newborn's arrival. During the festivities, the grandfather relaxes, watching a violin performance with a maid beside him. Meanwhile, the 1-month-old protagonist is quietly resting in another maid's arms. One of the guests steps forward to congratulate Master Liu on becoming a grandfather, but the elder seems lost in thought. Another guest congratulates the baby's father, unaware of the tension that brews behind the infant's calm eyes. The baby stares intensely at the man before him, the same man who took him down in his past life. Rage simmers inside him as he recognizes the traitor who tore him away from his sisters. Right then and there, he swears revenge. In his memories, he recalls his little sisters brimming with excitement over a giant birthday cake. Back then, he had been on the phone with Brother Chun, who was nagging him about being late for a mission. He apologized, and the traitor, thinking he was just some desperate guy chasing money, coldly reminded him to be smarter. The young man had thanked him for the opportunity. His sisters, full of anticipation, waited for even a tiny piece of cake. Before leaving, he told one of them he had a job to do but would return soon. He grabbed his weapon bag, slung it over his shoulder, and stepped out. The door closed behind him, leaving the 3 little girls waiting, gazing at the moonlight through the window, wondering when their brother would return. Elsewhere, a man approached a glowing portal in the middle of a dark forest. Smoking a cigarette, he was the same guest seen earlier congratulating young Master G at the party. Young Master G, clearly the leader of a dangerous mission, stood with his subordinates. He asked about the progress, and the man reported that they'd been inside for a while. The beast should be well fed by now. G praised Old Chin's efficiency and turned to a female companion, saying they came all the way just for her. But the woman scoffed, dismissing him as just another G family lowlife trying to climb a ladder. Together, the group of traders stepped through the portal and left the desolate forest behind. Meanwhile, one of the hero's comrades warned of a nearby powerful beast. G, surprised that someone was still alive, noted that more food was needed for his medicine. Old Chun seemed confused. Everyone was supposed to be just low-level D-rank soldiers. A sudden, deafening noise pulled everyone's attention to the same spot. Their eyes landed on a beast with a fresh wound on its leg. The creature locked eyes with the young man, our protagonist, standing wounded but unshaken. Despite being exhausted and bleeding, he stood tall, bracing for the final confrontation. One of the traders stepped forward cautiously. G demanded to know who dared injure his beast. Then his eyes widened. It was him, Yen. The young man called out to Brother Chun, completely lost on what was happening. Yichen's friend asked if he had brought reinforcements, as their group began to scatter in panic. Back in the present, the baby renews his vow for vengeance, his eyes fixated on the traitor. He reaches his arms out, babbling and making baby noises at the man who stares at him curiously. The man stutters, unable to make sense of what the child wants. The baby's father chuckles, saying his son wants to be held, and that being chosen by the boy is the greatest honor of his life. He picks the baby up, thanking him for the blessing, while the child fakes a loud wail. But the moment he's in his arms, the little one releases a jolt of yellow energy, his lightning-type divine sense flaring. The traitor screams as the electric shock tears through his body. Jolted by pain, he accidentally drops the baby onto the marble floor of the mansion. Gasps fill the room. Guests turn, shocked by the loud crash. The musicians stop playing mid-performance. All eyes lock onto the fallen child. The grandfather watches with a grim, unreadable expression. The parents freeze in horror. Their precious baby lies on the floor. The old man realizes the gravity of what just happened. The baby starts wailing uncontrollably, still faking it to sell the act. The traitor begins to sweat bullets, clearly panicking. He's terrified of the consequences. Furious, the grandfather roars, demanding to know how anyone could dare drop the Liu family's treasure. The traitor throws himself to the ground, swearing it wasn't his fault that the baby acted on his own. The father doesn't buy it. Without hesitation, he kicks the man hard, calling him a worthless dog. The blow sends him flying across the floor. The man grovels on the ground, begging for forgiveness. He offers up his most prized treasures, pleading to help treat the boy's injuries. The father, clearly enjoying the show, smirks coldly. Then he orders the servants to drag the traitor out and give him a proper beating. The man, beaten and humiliated, still thanks him for the punishment. The maid picks the baby back up, and in her arms, the child smirks wickedly, pleased with the outcome. With a bruised forehead, the traitor stares in confusion, still trying to make sense of what just happened. The baby resumes crying, flawlessly keeping up his innocent facade. The trader is stunned that the child is crying again. The grandfather commands a maid to take the young master inside and check him thoroughly for injuries. Turning to his son, the old man scolds him harshly. With their family status, there's no room for worthless men like that. He storms off in a fury, leaving behind a stunned silence. The father clenches his fist around a wine glass, cracking it under the pressure. Then, fueled by rage, he delivers another kick to the trader's face. And without a second thought, he orders the man to be dragged outside and thrown to the dogs. Guards seize him as he begs for mercy, but no one listens. The host turns to the guests and coolly tells them to enjoy the party. Meanwhile, the baby thinks only of how to absorb more power. The family doctor examines him and marvels at his incredible physique. He's perfectly fine. The grandfather laughs heartily, celebrating his grandson's resilience and health. But the baby has something far more important on his mind, finding the 3 sisters he lost. He needs to grow up fast, and he needs to obtain that woman's essence. Crying for milk and a doctor, he draws the attention he needs. The elder quickly orders his daughter-in-law to feed him again and take another dose of spiritual medicine. The mother complains, exhausted, saying she just fed him. But the family head insists. For the sake of the clan and their son's future, she must endure. Reluctantly, she removes her coat and prepares to breastfeed again. The baby cries, mouth open, waiting to be fed. His mother picks him up, red-eyed and tired, and starts nursing him, grumbling about how rough he is. Seeing her weakening, the grandfather orders tonic soup to restore her strength. Later, they're seen in a hot spring together. She groans, joking that he must be collecting a debt from a past life with how long he's been feeding. 3 months pass. The baby is now crawling all over the mansion, and his power has already hit sea level. In his past life, it had taken him a full year to advance from elementary to intermediate D level. And now, he's already pushed past intermediate C level just by drinking milk. At a family dinner, he suddenly crawls toward the main table. Furious, the grandfather scolds the staff for letting him roam unsupervised. The maid apologizes, saying he crawls too fast for her to keep up. The father chuckles, teasing that the baby must want more milk. The mother, on the verge of collapse, groans that the boy's been glued to her chest for 3 months. But the child knows he can't afford to slow down. He must keep getting stronger. Then, shocking everyone, he suddenly stands up on his own. The grandfather and butler freeze in disbelief. The boy begins walking, step by step, toward his stunned mother. Then he jumps at her, making her scream that she just wants to finish her meal. The maid gasps, pointing out that the young master is walking. The butler whispers that this is no ordinary child. He has a celestial constitution. The grandfather beams with pride, watching his prodigy. With that, he declares it's time. According to clan rules, the boy must now choose a personal servant. In a shadowy part of the estate, the elder checks the results. A guard reports only 2 candidates remain. In his mother's arms, the baby is brought to a makeshift arena for the selection. He watches intently until his eyes suddenly widen. He recognizes one of the girls. In a holding cell stands a frightened, white-haired girl in a defensive stance. On the other side, a blonde girl charges forward, screaming as she launches an attack. The baby is stunned. What is she doing here? His tiny body begins to glow with powerful light. Then he unleashes his lightning-type power, zapping one of the fighting girls. The shock is so strong that the blonde girl is hurled across the room, hitting the ground hard and losing consciousness instantly. Seizing the opportunity, the white-haired girl dives for the bread. Without hesitation, she grabs it and starts devouring it hungrily right in the middle of the cell. Nearby, the mother's hair stands on end from the static. The protagonist panics, silently hoping no one noticed anything suspicious. The grandfather lets out a hearty laugh, remarking that his grandson has far more fighting spirit than his father ever did. The boy thinks to himself that being a baby has its perks. Adults always find excuses for his actions. The elder then declares that the little girl will serve as a servant. He orders her to be washed and trained in etiquette. Unbothered, the girl continues eating like nothing else matters. In the crib, the baby smiles brightly, clearly pleased with his new servant. Meanwhile, the butler steps forward, explaining that the girl is a death servant, and her duty is to protect the young master. The white-haired girl simply nods, accepting her new role. She is also instructed to follow the young master and train in martial arts while he sleeps. That night, the new maid enters the baby's room to begin her duties. The boy greets her with an excited smile, pointing to himself. But the girl's expression darkens, filled with hatred and vengeance, as she suddenly pulls out a knife. The baby freezes, panicking. He tries to speak, but his underdeveloped vocal cords prevent him. She declares that she will take him out to avenge her older brother's death. Without warning, she raises the knife and lunges at the helpless baby. But in a split second, he dodges with remarkable agility, leaping from the crib and leaving behind a glowing energy silhouette. The girl is stunned. The baby reappears beside her, shocking her further. Suddenly, she emits a green aura, preparing to attack. The protagonist is stunned. She has a wind-type divine sense. She attacks using her wind power, but he counters with his lightning. Their powers collide, filling the room with brilliant light and swirling energy. He realizes that using both his powers is taking a toll on his infant body. Then, an idea strikes. The boy points at her and releases a low-powered thunder divine sense. A tiny lightning spear hits the girl, temporarily paralyzing her and sending her collapsing to the floor. Exhausted, but relieved, he carefully approaches her and pricks his own finger on her knife, letting a drop of blood fall. Using his blood, he writes a message on the floor to explain everything. It's a clever solution, he thinks. But as she reads, she only stares blankly. She can't read. The girl attacks again, and the boy dodges, worried that if someone sees her attacking him, she'll be punished or worse. Elsewhere, the traitor walks through the mansion, holding a wooden box. In a flashback, the boy's father reminds him he's alive only because he's still useful. The man had sold all he owned to buy a rare item for the baby, hoping to gain favor. Now, hearing sound from the baby's room, he rushes to check. He opens the door and is stunned to see the baby and the girl chasing each other. Confused and panicked, he steps forward. Sensing an opportunity, the baby glares darkly and enacts his plan. He grabs the girl's hand, twists the knife, and gives her a light shock to the forehead, knocking her out. As she collapses, he catches the knife midair. Then, without hesitation, the baby stabs himself in the shoulder. Blood spills as he lets out a soft whimper. The traitor is horrified. Before he can react, the baby throws the bloody knife toward him. In reflex, the man catches it and freezes. The box slips from his hands and crashes to the floor. The baby inhales deeply, then begins to wail, loudly, dramatically. He lies on the unconscious girl, crying with all his might. The traitor, holding the bloodied knife, looks completely panicked. Moments later, the grandfather and other family members rush in. They're met with the shocking scene. The baby crying atop the fainted girl, and the man standing there with the knife. The elder glares. The grandfather explodes with fury, accusing the man of trying to harm his grandson. Terrified, the man drops the knife and tries to explain. The father doesn't listen. He punches the man square in the face. The traitor pleads desperately, saying it was the girl who attacked the baby, and he tried to help. But no one believes him. The boy's father demands the location of the gift. Frantically, the man searches the floor. Meanwhile, the grandfather praises the girl for protecting his grandson and orders her taken to rest. The elder places a heavy hand on the baby's shoulder, his red eyes blazing with rage. He scolds his son for nearly losing the Liu family's only hope. Then, everyone exits, leaving the man on the floor, trembling. Suddenly, the baby's father turns back and delivers a harsh kick to the man. "I gave you a chance, and you still try to hurt him," he growls. He orders the man dragged out and fed to the dogs. The baby, seeing his plan succeed, exhales in relief. But he looks to the girl with concern. Just then, the butler rushes over, insisting the servant be treated immediately. The boy panics. His blood-written message is still on the floor beneath her. Thinking quickly, he flops down over her body and shakes his head, trying to stop the butler. The man lifts the baby away and places him back in the crib as the boy looks on distressed. Seeing the butler about to lift the girl, the baby debates using his power to stop him. But then an idea sparks. He watches intently. As the maid is lifted, a pool of blood is revealed beneath her. Shocked, the boy realizes she's actually injured. Even the butler is stunned to see the blood on her clothes. Confused, the baby can't understand how she got hurt. The butler carries her away and orders the baby's room to be cleaned. Alone again in the crib, the baby sighs. Though relieved, he still wonders what really happened. No time to dwell, there are bigger plans to set in motion. In another room, a fragrant oil is being prepared. The baby's mother lies down for a rare back massage. She's finally relaxing, until her peace is shattered by the baby's loud call for milk. Startled, she sighs as he crawls up to her. "You again? That appetite of yours is unreal." As he starts feeding, she groans. "How much longer are you going to keep this up?" But the boy knows he needs to grow faster. He needs to speak. He has a lot to explain to his servant.